So in today's video, we're going to go over how to change out a frost-free hose bib. Now, if we can, the first thing we want to do is we want to shut off our water to our spigots. If you have a valve that isolates the spigots, that's of course optimal, but if not, you're just going to have to shut the water off at the main. Once our water's off, we can go ahead and open the valve, just let any water drain out of there, and then we can go ahead and loosen it up, get ready to take it out. Now, as you can see, it's loose, but we do need to disconnect it from the pipe. So in my case, we can't just screw this out. So now we can go down and disconnect it from the pipe. Now, there's a few different connections you might run into down here. This does have a male end on it, so you might have a female fitting here that screws in, and you might be able to actually twist this out. In my circumstance, they just took the copper pipe and soldered it in here. Which is another thing you might be looking at. The bad part about that is if I cut it here, a lot of times I need to resolder in a new pipe. What I'm going to try to do is, hopefully I got a longer hose bib here. I think this is a 10-inch, but I can't really see back in here. I'm not sure how thick that is. I'm hoping this is 10-inch and I can put a 12-inch in and then just cut the pipe here. Because this is an open ceiling, I'm actually going to just put a shark bite push to connect fitting in if I can. If this were closed, I could not do that. You need to check your local code for that. You cannot bury a shark bite in a wall or in a ceiling. So I'm not able to do that in this circumstance. So what I'm going to do is, like I said, if I can, I'm going to cut this here, put the new frost-free fitting in, and connect it with a shark bite. If I have to cut this back a little bit, I will. But that's the goal. Otherwise, I'm going to have to solder this up. So let's get going. And as you can see, there's a little water in here. So if you need a bucket, you have a bucket. I'm in the basement. I don't really care. I've got a towel down there. I can dry it up. So now we can go ahead and pull the fitting out. We can go ahead and pull this out. And as you see, this is a 10-inch. Put a 12-inch on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my fitting on here first. Now, before I put this back in the wall, that'll fit there. I'm going to go ahead and put some tape on here. Now, this needs to be in a clockwise motion, so. And put our fitting on. Doesn't have to be super tight, but I like to have it tight enough there. That should be good. And what we can do is just push that back through the wall if we can. Like that. We'll go downstairs. Now, as you can see, unfortunately, there's just not a lot of room in here. And even if this was the same size, probably would have had enough room to actually cut this back because of the fitting. But I may not have. I don't know the answer to that one. So what we can do, we'll pull this all the way back, and I know I need an inch, right? So here you can see kind of where that needs to go in the fitting. So what you're going to do is mark. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark right here, the edge of this, and then I'm going to cut an inch and make sure I got an inch that goes into this fitting. Should fit together and we should be good. But let's go ahead and do that real quick. Now, as you can see, I measure this, and it's right about an inch. So that's what we want to have on our pipe. And if you want, like I said, you can pull this tight or you can actually screw it in. The one thing is if you screw it in, you have to go unscrew it because we got to get this out of the way so that we can cut our pipe here. Then we'll just find our line and measure 1 inch here. And then we'll cut that. We just take our pipe cutters here, put it on our line. Cut that loose. And I like to just deburr the inside, just get any burrs out of there. Even though we're not soldering, it's still good to clean it up, at least in my opinion. And really all we need to do now, pull this back. Now, I like to screw this in on the outside first, so get it right there. Line it up on the outside, just make sure you're square, and then you can... Now, what I'm gonna do, just to make sure I stay square, I'm gonna go ahead and put the screws in here. I'm not gonna tighten them down.